I got the call every mother dreads at 3 in the morning. Mrs. Moore? This is UC San Diego Medical Center. Your daughter Jennifer has been admitted to our intensive care unit. You need to come immediately. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. What happened? Is she okay? There was a pause. I'm sorry, ma'am. It appears to be an intentional overdose. She's alive, but her condition is critical. The room started spinning. Jennifer? My Jennifer? No, that couldn't be right. I threw on clothes and drove through empty San Diego streets, my mind racing. Jennifer had always been my rock. After her father died from his own accidental overdose 10 years ago, she'd been the one who held me together. She'd helped me through the grief, helped me rebuild my life. She was a trauma counselor, for God's sake. She helped other people through their darkest moments. This didn't make sense. When I burst through the ICU doors, I saw her immediately through the glass. My beautiful daughter, lying motionless in that hospital bed, tubes everywhere. And standing next to her, sobbing into her hands, was Emma, my daughter-in-law, Jennifer's wife of 3 years. Emma looked up when she heard me, her face red and swollen. She ran to me, collapsing into my arms. Patricia, I'm so sorry. I should have seen the signs. I should have known, oh God, this is all my fault. What happened? I pulled back, looking at her. What signs? Jennifer wasn't depressed. She was happy. You two just got back from your anniversary trip last month. Emma's lip trembled. I know, but maybe she was hiding it? The doctor said she took almost an entire bottle of antidepressants. I didn't even know she had them. When I came home from my showing, I found her on the bathroom floor, barely breathing. Wait. I held up my hand, something cold settling in my stomach. Antidepressants? Jennifer doesn't take medication. She never has. Not since watching her father die from accidentally mixing his pain medication with alcohol. Jennifer had been terrified of pills ever since. She wouldn't even take Tylenol for a headache. She'd told me 100 times that she'd never put anything like that in her body. Emma's eyes darted away. I don't know, Patricia. Maybe she got them recently? Maybe she didn't tell anyone? A doctor approached, clipboard in hand. He was young, probably early 30s, with kind eyes that looked exhausted. Mrs. Moore? I'm Dr. Patel. I'm overseeing Jennifer's care. He glanced at Emma. Mrs. Rodriguez, would you mind giving us a moment? Emma nodded, squeezing my hand. I'll be right outside. I'm here for you, Patricia, whatever you need. Once she was gone, Dr. Patel lowered his voice. I need to ask you some questions about your daughter's medical history. Did Jennifer have a prescription for Zoloft? Absolutely not. She doesn't take any medication at all. She has an almost phobic response to pills. He frowned, making a note. That's unusual. The levels in her system suggest she'd been taking it for at least a few weeks, possibly months. You build up to a dose like this. You don't just swallow a bottle on day one. My blood ran cold. What are you saying? I'm saying this doesn't quite fit the profile of a typical suicide attempt. Most people who impulsively overdose take whatever they have on hand. But this is a specific medication, in a specific amount, suggesting regular use we have no record of. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced at it. One new email from Jennifer's account. My heart stopped. I looked through the glass at my daughter, still unconscious, then back at my phone. I opened the email with shaking hands. Mom, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. This is a dead man's switch. I set it to send automatically if I don't check in every 48 hours. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you sooner, but I was scared and I needed to gather evidence first. I don't take antidepressants. I never have. But for the past 3 months, I've been getting sick almost every morning. Dizzy, nauseous, confused. At first, I thought it was just stress from work. But then I noticed something. Every morning, Emma makes my coffee before she leaves for showings. Every morning, I drink it. And every morning after she leaves, I feel terrible. So 2 weeks ago, I tested it. I didn't drink the coffee. I felt fine all day. The next morning, I dumped half the coffee in the sink when she wasn't looking and pretended to drink it. Again, I felt better. That's when I knew. I started taking samples of my coffee to a friend who works at a lab. Patricia, There's Zoloft dissolved in it. She's been drugging me. Every single day, building it up in my system. I found her computer password and accessed her search history. She's been researching how much Zoloft is lethal, antidepressant overdose symptoms, life insurance payout timeline, how to make suicide look believable. Mom, I think Emma is trying to kill me. I found out she has another family in Tijuana, a husband, 2 kids. She never left him. Our marriage is a lie. She married me for the house, for my life insurance, $500,000, for access to your trust fund that Dad left me. I've attached all the evidence to this email. Screenshots, lab reports, photos of pill residue in my coffee maker. I've also filed copies with my lawyer, Sarah Chen, at Chen & Associates. If something happens to me, she has instructions to go to the police. I was planning to confront Emma this week and file for divorce. But I set this up just in case. If you're reading this, I didn't make it. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry. Please don't trust her. Please don't let her get away with this. Always, Jennifer. I couldn't breathe. The phone slipped from my hand, clattering on the floor. Doctor. Patel bent to pick it up, concern on his face. Mrs. Moore, are you all right? I looked up at him, then through the glass at Emma, who was pacing in the hallway. Phone pressed to her ear. She looked worried, grieving, the perfect devastated wife. And all I could think was, she's standing 3 feet away from me. My daughter's killer is standing right there. Dr. Patel, I said quietly, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. Can I see Jennifer's tox screen? He hesitated. I really shouldn't. Please, it's important. Something in my face must have convinced him. He pulled up the chart on his tablet, turning it toward me. I'd spent 30 years as a bank auditor, investigating fraud and financial crimes before I retired. I knew how to read data. I knew how to spot patterns. The Zoloft levels were exactly what Jennifer had described, consistent with regular dosing over months, then a massive spike. And there was something else. Something that didn't fit. What's this? I pointed to another line item. Diphenhydramine, Benadryl. Probably to make sure she didn't wake up before the Zoloft took full effect. Jennifer was allergic to Benadryl. I'd watched her throat close up when she was 7 after she took it for a cold. Emma knew that. She'd been there last year when Jennifer had to use her EpiPen at a restaurant that put it in their sauce. This wasn't a suicide attempt. This was murder. And Emma had made a mistake. I stood up, smoothing down my shirt. I had to be smart about this. If I confronted Emma now, she'd run. I needed proof. I needed to make her confess. But first, I needed to make sure Jennifer survived. Dr. Patel, I need you to do something for me. I kept my voice low. My daughter has a severe Benadryl allergy. It's in her file. Do you understand what I'm saying? His eyes widened. He looked at the chart again, then at me, then through the glass at Emma. I'll need to report this. Not yet, please. I need 24 hours. I have evidence, but I need to make sure it's airtight. If she suspects we know, she'll disappear. Please. He studied me for a long moment. Then he nodded. Once, 24 hours. Then I'm calling the police myself. I squeezed his hand. Thank you. I composed myself and walked out to the hallway. Emma immediately rushed over, grabbing my hands. How is she? What did the doctor say? I looked into her eyes, brown eyes, wide with fake concern. 3 years. She'd been planning this for 3 years. She's stable, I said carefully. They think she'll make it. Emma's face flooded with relief. But I saw it, just for a second. A flicker of something else in her eyes. Disappointment. Maybe even anger. Oh, thank God. She pulled me into a hug. I was so scared, Patricia. I thought I'd lost her. You tried to kill her, I thought. You tried to murder my daughter. But I just hugged her back and said, we're going to get through this, together. Over the next 12 hours, I played the role of the supportive mother-in-law while my mind worked overtime. I went through Jennifer's emails on my phone, reading every attachment, lab reports showing Zoloft in her coffee samples, screenshots of Emma's search history, photos of a family in Mexico, Emma with a man and 2 children, all smiling, marriage certificate from 7 years ago, Emma Torres, not Emma Rodriguez. She was still married. Our daughter's marriage was a fraud. Everything was a lie. I also found something else in Jennifer's notes. She'd been tracking Emma's finances. My daughter had gotten suspicious 6 months ago when Emma started pushing for power of attorney over Jennifer's medical decisions. Started talking about updating her will. Started suggesting Jennifer add Emma to the deed of the house we'd bought together. Jennifer had discovered that Emma was deeply in debt. She'd taken out loans in Mexico under her real name, borrowed from dangerous people. She needed money fast, and Jennifer was worth more dead than alive. I called Sarah Chen, Jennifer's lawyer, from the hospital cafeteria. "Mrs. Moore? I've been expecting your call." Her voice was grim. "You got Jennifer's email. All of it. What do we do?" "I've already notified the police. They're investigating. But Emma hasn't technically committed a crime yet if Jennifer survives. Attempted murder is hard to prove when the victim can't testify and the suspect has plausible deniability. So we need a confession. That would help. But Patricia, please don't do anything dangerous. This woman has tried to kill your daughter. She won't hesitate to hurt you too." I thought about that. About Emma's smile. About her standing in that hospital hallway, crying crocodile tears while my daughter fought for her life. "I'm 63 years old, Sarah. I've spent 3 decades catching people who lie and steal for money. I know exactly how to handle someone like Emma." I hung up and made another call. To my old friend Marcus Webb, a retired detective who'd worked with me on several fraud cases over the years. "Marcus, I need your help, and I need you to bring a wire." 2 hours later, I was back at the hospital. Emma was dozing in the chair next to Jennifer's bed, exhausted. I gently shook her shoulder. "Emma, honey, why don't you go home and get some rest? You've been here all night. I'll stay with Jennifer." She blinked awake, confused. "Are you sure?" "Positive. You need to take care of yourself too. Go home, shower, eat something. I'll call you if anything changes." She hesitated, looking at Jennifer. Then she nodded. "Okay, thank you, Patricia. You're amazing. You know that? Jennifer is so lucky to have you." I watched her leave, then waited 30 minutes before following. I'd given Marcus her address. He'd be in position by now, recording everything from the surveillance van parked across the street. I knocked on the door of the house I'd helped buy for them 3 years ago. The house that was supposed to be their forever home. The house Emma was trying to steal through murder. Emma answered in yoga pants and a t-shirt, surprised. "Patricia, is everything okay? Is Jennifer?" "She's fine. Still unconscious, but stable." I held up a folder. "Can I come in? There's something we need to discuss." She stepped back, confused but welcoming. Of course. Do you want some coffee?" "No, thank you." I sat down at their kitchen table. The same table where Emma had been slowly poisoning my daughter for months. I set the folder down in front of me. "What's this about?" Emma sat across from me, hands folded, still playing the concerned wife. "I've been thinking," I said slowly, "about Jennifer's future. About what happens if she doesn't wake up, God forbid. And I realized something. You've been taking care of everything, the house, the bills, her affairs. You're her wife. You should have the legal authority to make decisions." Emma's eyes lit up. Just a little. I appreciate that, Patricia. I've been worried about that, actually. What if they need to make medical decisions and I can't?" "Exactly." I pulled out papers from the folder. Papers I'd had Sarah draft this afternoon, so I had my lawyer draw these up. Power of attorney for medical decisions, authorization to access Jennifer's life insurance policy. And I paused, letting the moment build. An amendment to the house deed, adding your name. That way, no matter what happens, you're protected. I slid the papers across the table. Emma stared at them, her breathing shallow. Her hands were trembling slightly as she picked them up. "Patricia, I don't know what to say. Say you'll take care of my daughter's legacy. Say you'll honor her memory, if the worst happens." Emma's eyes were shining now. Not with tears, with greed, with triumph. Of course I will. Jennifer meant everything to me." She reached for a pen. "There's just one thing," I said quietly. "I need to understand what happened. The doctor said Jennifer had been taking Zoloft for months, but she never told me. Did she tell you?" Emma froze, pen halfway to the paper. No, She didn't. I was surprised too. See? That's what's strange to me. Because Jennifer was terrified of medication. After what happened to her father, she wouldn't even take aspirin. So I've been trying to understand how she ended up with all that Zoloft in her system. Emma's jaw tightened. Maybe she was more depressed than we realized. Maybe. I leaned forward. Or maybe someone was putting it in her coffee every morning. The room went silent. Emma's face went pale, then red. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the lab reports showing Zoloft dissolved in coffee samples from your coffee maker. I'm talking about your search history, asking how much is lethal. I'm talking about your real husband and 2 children in Tijuana. I'm talking about the $500,000 life insurance policy and this house and the trust fund you've been after since day one. Emma stood up so fast her chair fell backward. You're crazy. You're a grief-stricken old woman making up stories. Am I? I pulled out my phone, showing her Jennifer's email. Because my daughter set up a dead man's switch before you tried to murder her. She knew. She knew everything. Emma's face twisted into something ugly. Something real. That little bitch, she hissed. I was so careful. How did she... She stopped drinking the coffee. She tested it. She's smarter than you gave her credit for. Well, she's not smart enough to be awake right now, is she? Emma's voice was cold now, all pretense gone. And when she dies, and she will die, Patricia, I made sure of that. All of this will be mine. The house, the insurance, everything. You can't prove anything. Actually, I said calmly, I can. Because you just confessed, and my friend Marcus has been recording this entire conversation from the van outside. Emma's eyes went wide. She lunged for my phone, but I was faster. I'd been expecting it. I dodged and ran for the door, throwing it open. Marcus was already there, badge out, 2 uniformed officers behind him. Emma Rodriguez. You're under arrest for attempted murder, fraud, and bigamy. She tried to run. She actually tried to run out the back door, but the officers were faster. They had her on the ground, cuffing her, reading her rights while she screamed and cursed. Marcus walked over to me, shaking his head. That was dangerous, Patricia. She could have hurt you. I had to make sure we had enough. I watched them drag Emma to the patrol car. For Jennifer, I had to make sure that woman never got a chance to hurt her again. 3 days later, Jennifer woke up. I was sitting next to her bed, holding her hand, when her eyes fluttered open. For a moment, she looked confused, disoriented. Then she saw me, and tears started flowing down her cheeks. Mom? I'm here, baby. I'm right here. Emma. Did she? She's in jail, she confessed. The police have everything, the evidence you gathered, the recording, all of it. She's going away for a very long time. Jennifer's whole body sagged with relief. I was so scared. I thought if she found out I knew, she'd. And I didn't want to worry you until I had proof. But then, shh. It's over now. You're safe. You're going to be okay. She squeezed my hand. How did you know? The dead man's switch? Got your email at 3:07 a.m. About 10 minutes after they called me to the hospital. You know me, sweetheart. Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? She laughed, then winced at the pain. 30 years as a fraud investigator. I should have known you'd spot the pattern. Damn right. I brushed hair from her forehead. Though next time you discover your wife is trying to kill you, maybe loop your mother in a little sooner? Deal. Over the next few weeks, the full scope of Emma's crimes came to light. She'd married Jennifer specifically for the money. She'd been targeting wealthy women in the LGBTQ community for years, looking for someone vulnerable she could manipulate. She'd found Jennifer at a grief support group right after her father died, swooped in while she was vulnerable, and spent 3 years slowly maneuvering herself into position. The house, the life insurance, the trust fund. Emma had been planning to take it all and disappear back to Mexico with her real family. She'd done it before, twice. One woman had died under mysterious circumstances, ruled a suicide. Another had survived, but lost everything in the divorce before they realized what was happening. We'd stopped her just in time. Jennifer's recovery was slow, not just physically, but emotionally. She'd trusted Emma completely. She'd loved her. The betrayal cut deep, deeper even than the poisoning, but she was strong. My daughter had always been strong. 6 months later, We were having coffee in her new apartment, smaller than the house. But it was hers, really hers, when she looked at me with a small smile. I got my counseling license back. They reviewed the case and cleared me to practice again. That's wonderful, honey. And I've been thinking. She set down her mug. About starting a support group for people who've survived domestic violence and fraud. People who've been targeted the way I was. My eyes filled with tears. Jennifer, that's perfect. I figured, I survived this for a reason. Might as well help other people survive it too. She reached across and took my hand. And maybe you could help? You're the one who actually caught her. You could teach people how to spot the warning signs, how to protect themselves financially. I thought about Emma's face when she realized she'd been caught. About the moment her mask slipped and I saw the monster underneath. I'd be honored. That evening, as I drove home through San Diego, I thought about everything that had happened, about how close I'd come to losing my daughter, about how evil can hide behind a smile and a wedding ring. But I also thought about something else, about a mother's instinct that something was wrong, about a daughter brave enough to set up an insurance policy and gather evidence while being slowly poisoned, about the strength it takes to survive when someone you love wants you dead. Emma Torres got 25 years for attempted murder, fraud, and bigamy. She'd be eligible for parole in 15, but with 2 other cases being reopened in her past, I doubted she'd see freedom anytime soon. Jennifer's support group started small, just 5 people in a church basement, but within a year, it had grown to over 50 members. Survivors of all kinds of domestic abuse, financial fraud, gaslighting, and betrayal. People who needed to know they weren't alone, that they weren't crazy, that what happened to them was real. And me? I came out of retirement, in a way. I started consulting with the district attorney's office on financial fraud cases, especially ones involving domestic abuse and elder exploitation. Turns out 30 years of catching embezzlers and con artists translates pretty well to catching people who prey on their own families. On Jennifer's birthday, a year after it all happened, we went to the beach and watched the sunset. She'd met someone new, a kind woman named Sarah, who worked as a veterinarian and treated Jennifer like she hung the moon. "You think you'll ever get married again?" I asked her. Jennifer was quiet for a moment. "Maybe. Someday. But this time, I'm making you run a full background check first." I laughed. "Deal." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Thank you, Mom, for believing me, for fighting for me, for not letting her win." "Baby," I said, squeezing her tight. "There was never a world where I was going to let that woman hurt you and get away with it. Never." The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky gold and pink. Somewhere out there, Emma Torres was sitting in a cell, probably still furious that her perfect plan had fallen apart. But here, on this beach, with my daughter alive and healing beside me, justice had been served, and that was all that mattered.